new National Youth Dance Company was created with funding from Arts Council England and the Department for Education. This National Youth Dance Company, or NYDC as it's become known, is England's flagship youth dance company and is run by Sadler's Wells. For the past 10 years, NYDC has been bringing together young people from across the country to collaborate with and be inspired by world-leading artists. Each year, a new company of dancers is recruited, coming together in the school holidays to create a new work which is then toured across the country. Every year experiences something artistically different, being led by a new guest artistic director from Yasmin Vardaman in Year 1 to Wayne McGregor in Year 10.
I have followed the National Youth Dance Company from the very beginning. Very early on, I was very interested to see how this incredible national project was going to take shape, and I've seen all of the projects since. In terms of expectations, I think, young people always surprise you and certainly always exceed your expectations. So I think you can never really say, oh, this is going to be this kind of experience, because you don't really ever know. But I did know that the quality of performance and the quality of thinking about how young people process and activate in dance is something that they would do brilliantly well. And I knew that you had the structure and this brilliant structure to be able to support young people in fabulous ways.
Can you tell us about the relationship between Sadler's Wells specifically and National Youth Dance Company?
So Sadler's Wells applied to run the National Youth Dance Company when it was invented. So we bid and we got it. And we got it because what we promised was that we would put the top choreographers in the room with the young people each year, and we had access to them. And so that's why we started with Yasmin and Akram, all the list goes on. And that's what they really liked. So we won it. So it's actually a separate thing that we run on behalf of the Department of Education and Arts Council, but it's become very much part of Sadler's Wells now.
To recruit the dancers, we do normally around 14, we call them experience workshops. They happen all over the country. And then from then we invite around 70 through to a final audition that happens at Sadler's Wells. Quite often it'll be the case that maybe you don't get into the company the first year, but you might get in the second year. And it's amazing to see that as well. Quite a few of our dancers have come through that route. And then once you're in the company, we do a 3-day residency in October. We do a 6-day residency in December, 9 days across the February half term, and then 2 weeks over the Easter holidays, which finishes with the premiere, and then we tour over the summer. At Sadler's we have access to some of the world's most incredible choreographers. We're always working with people who are creating work for the stages right here and now, so it just gives young people that direct access.
When Alistair Spalding and Jen Hackett, who was at the time the Director of Creative Learning, approached me, NYDC was not exist. So it was the concept of having a company of young dancers before they're going into vocational training. For me, it was important to write a program, to set a program for young dancers that is not based about technique, but it's more about using your body as a tool of expression.
For me, I hadn't really experienced a residency in the sense that you would go away, you'd stay away for weeks. Sometimes it was 2 weeks. You'd stay away, you'd live with these people, you'd eat with these people, you'd also work and rehearse with these people. So you really get to know your fellow dancers and you become such a family. And I think for us, because it was the first time we'd done it, it felt personal.
It was 30, I think, dancers. They were from very varied backgrounds. Some of them never danced in a class before. So it was a very mixed group. And I thought, my first thought was, okay, how do I make from them a company that look like a company and they don't look like a group of individuals? They all have the love to dance and all young, but then how to kind of unify the way of expression. So we worked right away on breath. That was one of the first things. They were really open, and that was really exciting. Whatever you give them, they receive. And I find it very inspiring, because sometimes when you work with older dancers after they did their vocational training, there's so much kind of hook on technique, and they think that there is one way of doing things. Not everyone, of course, but because everything is about technique, and they almost lose that openness and freedom. So I was actually really inspired in the process with working with the dancers.
Every production's been so different because all our artistic directors have been so different. And what we always say to them is, can you make NYDC your own company for this year? So can you give them an insight into everything that you would offer your own dancers?
What's beautiful about dance is sometimes you can walk away and go, oh, I don't know what that piece was about, but I was really moved. I can't put it into words, but I was moved. It's because you're moving them from inside.
What's really unique about NYDC is the question, how do you want to lead it? People don't often ask that. Institutes don't often ask that. And I said, well, I want them to experience the process I would give and the expectations I have with my own dancers. I don't want to separate them. I don't want to treat them like students. I only had one expectation: will they dive? Will they immerse themselves? All the way, not up to here, where they can breathe. Will they immerse themselves all the way? And my God, they did. Because when you immerse yourselves, you know, when you go underwater, there's fear, because that's not where you belong. It's uncomfortable, it's unknown territory, how long you can last underwater. That's what I'm always searching for. And they were so hungry, and they were so, they were just so open to go there.
I'm a dance educator now, and every year there's at least 4 or 5 students that have been a part of NYDC that are now in my classroom. To let people know that you've also been a part of it, they always find it interesting to know, like, wow, you did that, and 10 years ago I didn't know, it had been going on for this long. That feeling of, right before the show when the curtain goes up, it gives you a vision as to what the future could potentially be for you. And now I realize this was the first time that an alternate reality had been shown to me.
There's so few opportunities for young people to come together with other young people who share the same passion as them. So, to live together as a company and to meet people who come from a totally different background to you, and to actually share something that you feel so strongly about. I think there's so many other things you learn from that in terms of, resilience, inclusivity, collaboration, all of those sorts of things perhaps you can't learn from school, from doing your regular subjects and your exams. You have to learn in a practical sense, and NYDC and other national programmes like that give young people that.
A person's inner life, some people want to call it their mind, other people call it their soul, but the inner person, the person that's hidden behind the mask, is very easy to see once a person starts to move, because it becomes manifest in the movement. Musicality is fundamental. It's the way you can allow the sound as it enters you to trigger you and your imagination, which becomes manifest in movement.
People, we are very often put in a frame. We're kind of like seen as we're defined. And I think when you're young, but also when you're older, I think it never stops really. One can get tired of being framed. One can get tired of feeling like you have to fit a certain box in order to be accepted by others.
So when you are yourself in your first kind of creation, and it's that, on that scale, I put myself in their shoes sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, that must feel too much. But I also love to see them getting out of their comfort zone and discovering things out of the blue. So we compose this together, but the group at the end is what's the most important, I would say. But the individual experience within it is as important.
For me, it's it's all about inspiration. And when people coming from different places, different background, different mentality, it just gives me more power to give back. I think as much as we're different mentality, it's always very interesting, and genetic, and how we look, how we feel. It's layers of inspiration. It's amazing. For me, it's a gift.
The hunger gets lost as we get older as professional dancers. I feel like watching it from the young dancers is like they just want to like push, want to do everything. Yeah, I can do this, and that for me is humbling because it makes me feel like I have to work extra harder now because it's like they give me a lot, so I'm just like, okay, how much do you give? It teaches me a lot about myself to still be a child. I think I still want to be a kid. I still want to be like a playful 17-year-old in my head when I make work, and I feel like that's going to stick with me.
The coronavirus lockdowns had a huge impact across the economy, but some sectors have been harder hit than others, and the futures of some businesses are looking particularly bleak.
Partway through 2020, in our year of working with Russell Malafant, the world was hit by the global pandemic of COVID-19. With activity brought to a sudden halt and the company's upcoming residency, world premiere and national tour all cancelled, NYDC had to radically rethink how its 39 young dancers would complete their experience. The company went online, delivering over 60 hours of Zoom sessions to stay connected.
I kind of felt like I had to let go of that, seeing what was originally envisaged and what we all kind of collectively were creating to begin with. It was like, okay, well, we have to put that aside. We can't go on with that. If someone asked me to make a full-length piece, like an hour, I would usually say, okay, well, 16 weeks would be good, maybe 12 if we're going fast. This was 4. So I was like, whoa, that's super fast. We're going to have to really go in hard and running. You know, actually, they did amazingly to take on all of those challenges of putting things together quickly and knowing that they've got to show it.
The following year, when we started working with Alessandra Sutan, we thought everything would be back to normal. How wrong we were. A whole year created over Zoom, with the company finally coming together 2 days before their premiere at Dance East in Ipswich, followed by a small socially distanced tour.
One thing that surprised me from working with this group, especially on Zoom, is that we managed to create a really strong bond, even though we were not physically together in the space.
How is this character grooving? How is this character walking?
Finally, in December 2021, the company began working together in person.
You know, you don't have to force them, they're in the space and they're really motivated, and all you have to do is share your artistry with them. I come across their life in a time where it could be a big shift and it could change everything, whereas with professionals, they've had some of those experiences, so the impact is not as big. So I think that's the difference with working with these young people.
Dancers from NYDC have gone on to do loads of different things, and we always say to them that we will celebrate whatever you go on to do. But I think hopefully what they've taken from NYDC is something that they can then use in their own careers.
I've gone into teaching and lecturing in contemporary dance. I now have returned as a contemporary dance lecturer at the place at LCDS.
I joined NYDC and worked with Ali Zamba, and I went on to be a part of BBC Young Damper. I then completed my master and have been really interested in making my own work and becoming a choreographer. So I became aware of the Young Associate programme at Sadler's Wells and have been successful to become a Young Associate for the next 2 years.
I wanted to be a forensic scientist. That was my goal. So Hannah came to me when we had a little one-to-one meeting, and I remember sitting again on a sofa at Tring October residency, the first time we'd ever met. And she was like, have you thought about going to a conservatoire? I was like, I don't know what that is. So I ended up auditioning for dance schools, got into Normal School of Contemporary Dance. Okay. I ended up as NYDC coordinator during the pandemic, and then somehow managed to become learning and engagement officer. So it's sad that I don't now get to work on NYDC, but I get to sort of do a lot more with community, from a younger age all the way up to over 60s. So a bigger range, even though obviously my passion does lie with NYDC because it means a lot to me. Where I am now is because of NYDC, because Hannah took that moment to say, have you thought about auditioning? Because otherwise I would be in a lab somewhere.
If I hadn't have had the opportunity of NYDC, I wouldn't be sitting next to this lovely woman, I wouldn't be in this lovely building. that really bridged the gap between, actually it gave me a choice, you know, in the sense that like, do I really want to do this? And working with Yasmin and having that peace and meeting all these people, I said, yes, this is what I want to do, because it really gave you a taste of what it could be like in the professional industry, in a professional company. I wouldn't have got into London Contemporary, I wouldn't have got all these apprenticeships, I wouldn't be in the company right now, and I think it really pushes you into that category of, I'm serious, I'm committed.
Another side of NYDC, many hours travelling around the country on a coach, endless snack breaks, loads of hotel stays. What we do is about bringing 40 individuals together and working out from those 40 individuals how you then make them one unit. And a huge part of that comes down to the company support team. So we have a team of people who live with the company. And they are from a range of different backgrounds, so some with backgrounds in safeguarding, quite a few now were in NYDC a few years ago and have come back as alumni and are now professional artists themselves. And we also have a creative support team as well who support the dancers, disabled dancers in the company with any particular access needs that they have. We also work with a dance psychologist, we also work with a physio, so all of these things which we're able to provide because of our brilliant funding to make sure that the young people can have the best experience they possibly can.
Well, I think it's really important what you talk about the pastoral element of looking after these young people. Because they have strong champions, you have all of these amazing people who are working with them to make sure that their spiritual, emotional, educational health is well looked after. They can be creatively extremely free, and that's really, really wonderful. Dance is an inherently collaborative art form anyway. It's a we, not I endeavour. And I knew that when we were coming to work with these incredible young people who've got their own vision for dance, their own physical signatures, their own kind of like passion and an imaginative interior landscape, that the best way to work with them was to activate that, to actually allow them the opportunity to create work. And how do you do that at the same time as trying to take them into a different direction or encourage them to explore further or go deeper?
I don't think I knew much about it. I just thought, just from the name, National Youth Dance Company, I just thought this is like the best thing to do as a young dancer. I thought like it was a wild sort of stab in the dark sort of thing. So my expectation was just that it would be so like high level and high intensity to the point where I couldn't even really imagine it.
Yeah, it's really made me see myself like I am an individual, I have something to bring. I think, yeah, it's definitely boosts my inner confidence.
I have a question for you, Matthew. What do you think like the best part of this whole process has been?
It's just like being creative together, and then just enjoying our piece.
How do you feel about our piece?
Well, our piece is really amazing, and I really love dancing with Gina all the time. You know, it's like being so nice to be together.
Thank you. Matthew has this really good energy, and I just feel like at any time of the day, like if I'm just feeling a bit overwhelmed, he'll just put his hand on my shoulder and just give me that knowing look. It's my first time ever on stage, so it's a bit, because it's the Lowry, like it's a very big stage, but it's not, if anything, it's not like daunting. It's like, it makes me really want to perform and do everyone proud. Yeah.
I guess our job is really a job of facilitation. It's partly going, these are some of the things that I'm interested in physically, and these are some of the things that I know about moving bodies that might interest you. And then me looking, and the great team that I've had with me, looking at these young people and going, these are some of the things we're learning about you, what more can you teach me? And there's an amazing kind of like fire point in the middle where these things coalesce. Then how do you arrange that in a set of constellations that then communicate meaning? How is it you then arrange that to be able to communicate something to audiences?
Weird. I want it that way. Tell me what is the
Noticing 2023. Do video picture.
Premiere.
It's time.
It's coming.
Great, hi everyone. We are going to go on stage.
And I'm thinking about myself at 17, you know, and we're in Manchester at the moment. I grew up, you know, not very far away from here. I would have loved to have been in National Youth Dance Company at 17 because it's contemporary work. It's about expressing yourself, and it's not about inheriting a form that you have to become, a specific form of theatre making. It's about finding what that constellation of young people want to say, and I would love to have been part of that. So when I'm reincarnated, yeah, I hope that I have that opportunity to come back and join a project like this.
With NYDC now firmly established as a key part of the ecology of the UK dance sector, there is no sign of the company slowing down. At the core of the company is the belief that if given the right resources and support, young people can achieve incredible things. NYDC's legacy is a testament to that, and they're only just getting started.
Happy 10th birthday for Evie and all her colleagues who did 10 years ago NYDC with me.
Hi everyone, wishing NYDC a wonderful 10th anniversary.
Wishing you a happy birthday.
Hello, beautiful people. I want to tell you that I love you, and it was one of the most beautiful experience and moment that I had. I love flowers, so I choose to have flowers. Love.
Hi everybody, I would like to wish a happy birthday anniversary to National Youth Dance Company NYDC. Make magic and to keep sharing it. Wish many more years.
Happy birthday NYDC. And what I hold on dear to is seeing them flourish, being passionate in everything that they choose, and seeing them again growing is beautiful. So I wish you another 10 amazing years.
Happy birthday NYDC, and until we meet again, sending you love and good wishes from Ireland. Slán agus Banach.
Happy birthday NYDC, 10 years. Wow, I hope you guys are proud of the 10 years and everything that's happened. Yeah, this is just a message to send love and just to say thank you on my behalf also for allowing me to be part of NYDC. But yeah, much love and enjoy it.